The second takeaway for me is that, hey, how about TCU? They've got the clear path to the playoff now, and they've got thrown all the way up there at number 4, which makes me think to myself, like, wait, did the committee listen to the podcast? And I think that they did. I think the committee listened to the podcast, and good on them. Hey, welcome, by the way. And, download the podcast, subscribe to it. By the way, if you're on the committee, leave us a review because you're clearly listening, which is phenomenal because we love college football just like you do, and we try to analyze it with clear eyes. What is the Friday Night Lights, like clear eyes, clear hearts or something like that? I butchered the line, but you get what I'm trying to say. Peer pressure apparently works, and I wasn't the only one. There was a lot of us in the college football media space, those of us that cover the sport, that looked at the rankings last week and thought to ourselves, hey, this doesn't make much sense. Kind of like UCLA and USC this week, TCU behind Alabama, behind Clemson. That I was like, wait, what? I'm like, that doesn't make sense. We called them out on it and they adjusted. There's no other explanation because what they used as their basis for last week's ranking was available to them again. The exact same scenario. They had an SEC team that took what can only be described as a really good loss in Tennessee at Georgia. Number 1 by a landslide, by the way. It had to be a unanimous number 1. They probably moved on from number 1 quicker than they ever have. Georgia's number 1. Bang, great. Okay, now who's number 2? Well, let's debate it. And that's where Tennessee loses. And so you've got the one-loss SEC team against a TCU team. And what did TCU do? Well, it's not like they rolled out there and beat like the highest-ranked Big 12 team. They beat Texas Tech. And Texas Tech had a lead, which is the exact rationale that the committee used last week to say that they weren't good enough to be in the top 6 or 5 or 4, was the fact that, well, they were behind in some games. Well, they were behind last Saturday too. To Texas Tech. So they had the exact same rationale at their fingertips. And I would argue, I really would, that Tennessee as a one loss is a more impressive one loss than what Bama was a week ago. Because remember, Bama a week ago, they had the close win against Texas A&M, not a very good team, at home. They had the close win against Texas, in which Bryce Young had to bail them out late. Tennessee's been pretty dominant. And then they're the only, they're a one loss team. They've got wins against Kentucky, LSU, now Alabama. Their strength of schedule is second. They've got 3 wins against the CFP top 25. They're 3-1 in those games. They lose at Georgia. Nothing to scoff at, which is why the committee put them 5. But it's like, well, aren't they better than what Alabama was last week? So again, let's go back to the original point. I think they listened to the podcast, and good on them. Remember, committee members, love you to leave a review on what we've got going on here at the Joel Klatt Show. Hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoy that clip, make sure you click subscribe somewhere down here. From game highlights to exclusive interviews and rankings, we've got everything you need as a college football fan right here, College Football on Fox.